To use a rapid induction with a client, it's really important that we prime them, okay? So there are loads of things you need to get in place, and your classmates here will have mentioned things like trust and rapport. They will need to be willing, they'll need to have some desire around it, all that kind of stuff. But let's look at the actual mechanics of it. So if I was to do a rapid induction with you, I need to know how you're going to respond to suggestion. So in a therapeutic setting, one of the first things that I'm going to do would be the suggestibility tests and see how you respond. Now, if you are okay with the authoritative approach and the sleep and the clicking and the stuff like that, that makes my job a lot easier when it comes to the rapid inductions, okay? I'm going to be gathering information about you at that stage. And then the next thing that's going to happen is when I go to induce hypnosis, I'm going to do eye fixation. So eye fixation, again, is one of those things that help us to prepare or prime the client for a rapid induction. So just in case you've forgotten, eye fixation goes like this. I just want you to follow the movement of my fingers. And as you do, you'll begin to notice some changes taking place. The first thing you'll notice is your attention is drawn towards your breathing, and your breathing begins to soften and relax. And you might even develop the need to swallow. There we go. As all the muscles around your throat, your gums, your teeth relax. And soon you'll begin to notice a comfortable feeling of heaviness in your eyes as all the muscles around your eyes grow soft and relax. And with that erratic blinking comes a feeling of deep relaxation, and soon those eyes just want to close and rest in that gentle, soothing darkness. And with your eyes closed now, you can begin to relax much deeper. And in a moment, I'm going to reach over and place my hand on your forehead and on the back of your neck. And that touch can feel soothing, calming, and relaxing. So now that I have my client in a position where they have been following a set of suggestions I've given them that have led them to a specific outcome, everything I said happened as I said it. So I've already started priming my client. Now, regardless of what kind of therapy you're going to do, somewhere within that session, if you're planning on doing a rapid induction, you need to teach your client some shorthand. So in hypnosis, we have a few different shorthand words. One of those words is deeper. Every time I say the word deeper, I'd like to give you a way to relax much deeper than you currently are. So now I've told my client what this shorthand is, so now I have to make sense of it. So Brian, focus on each breath that you breathe out. I'm now timing my words to each exhale. And I'm going to spend a moment or two and just comment on it. Again, I'm talking facts. It's a lovely feeling. Letting go of that old, used up air. And notice the way your chest down a little as you exhale. And now I'm going to give him a command. Sink down into that feeling. That's it. Sink right down into that feeling and go deeper down. And there's another shorthand word that we use in hypnosis, and that word is sleep. Whenever I say the word sleep to you, and click my fingers just like so, this is shorthand to allow your subconscious mind to take you even deeper still. I need to get permission from my client before I do a rapid induction. Brian, I'd like to give you the suggestion that whenever you hear me say the word sleep, and click my fingers like so, that you will drift down deeper into a state of deep hypnosis. Knowing that every time I say the word sleep and click my finger, that it's a signal for your subconscious mind to take you deeper, and that each time I use it, that you will go deeper still. Have I got your permission to use it?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Brian, focus on each breath. You breathe out and sleep. Beautifully, easily and deeply, each and every time I say the word sleep, you will continue to go deeper and deeper into hypnosis. So in a moment I'm going to count up from 1 to 3, and on the number 3 I'm going to tap you on the shoulder. When I do, I'd like you to open your eyes and we can have a brief conversation then. 1, 2 and 3. Because of the line of work that you're in, I want to share with you some other techniques that are really quite interesting. So one of the things that we have learned about how the brain works is that when we look in different places, whether we're looking up or whether we're looking across or whether we're looking down, can help us to know whether a person is accessing pictures, whether they're listening to the internal dialogue, or whether they're accessing feelings. And whether they're constructing pictures, constructing sound, constructing feelings, or whether they're remembering. But before that became part and parcel of our hypnotic repertoire, there was a man called Spiegel over in the US. And Spiegel was very interesting, because what he discovered was that there's a certain way that if we move our eyes can artificially create deep somnambulism. And what he discovered was that people who are highly hypnotic have a tendency to show a lot of the whites of their eyes. So if you see somebody and they're like that and you see a lot of the whites of their eyes, it's one of the signs that the person is probably a somnambulist, which, as you know, a somnambulist is somebody who's capable of deep levels of trance. But because we're working with clients, we don't always have the choice, and some people are only capable of experiencing what we call the hypnoidal, or the lighter levels of hypnosis. So one of the questions we can ask ourselves is, how can we artificially create somnambulism when it doesn't exist? And there's a technique that you can use, right? And it's something that you would be able to use in the work that you do as well in mentalism. But I'm going to teach you just kind of the straight, pure way, and then later we can discuss the applications and how you might be able to expand upon it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to follow my fingers with a view to really exercising your eyeballs. I'm going to start over here, and I want you to look right over here. I'm going to bring my fingers up in a high arch up above your head, all the way down there. And as I do, I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want you just to notice how you feel, because it's really quite a strange feeling. If you are the kind of person who has fainted in the past, you'll know that before you faint and when you're going into a swoon, you will also experience the same movement. So your eyes will... Sorry, I'm crossing my eyes. Let me try it again. Anyway, you'll show a lot of the whites of your eyes. I can't do it now. But the whites of your eyes become very prominent before you tend to just drop on the ground. So it's artificially connecting with that. So I just want to play with that for a second, okay? All I want you to do, not using your head now, just really try and move your eyes only. Bring them right up, really high, all the way up and over. That's it. And just lowering your gaze now. And just breathing normally. And again, this time bringing them all the way up, all the way up, right over and down. Can you feel the effects of that? All the way right, all the way up, over and down. Very good. And go one last time. All the way up and sleep. Beautifully and easily, just going all the way down. Gently and easily going all the way down. Gently and easily going all the way down. And because this is a hypnotherapy class, very often in the middle of a session, Brian, that you might have the desire where you want your client to become fully committed to achieving their goals, to doing that thing that they have come to you for therapy. And look, I don't know what your specific goals are. But what I want you to do is I want you to consider for a moment a very powerful word. And that word is trust. And trust plays a big part in the work that we do. Trust and rapport are required so that I can have a good relationship with you. And so that when you are a therapist or you're doing mentalism, that your clients or the people you're working with, that they trust you and that there is rapport there. But let's lift the lid on trust for a moment and take a look as to what it really means. Because, Brian, if I was to ask you to do me a favour, and if I was to tell you that I was leaving the country, but I was returning in the early hours of the morning, 2 weeks from now, and if I was to call you up and ask you for a favour and say, Brian, out of the goodness of your heart, would you be kind enough to pick me up from Dublin Airport on this day at 4 a.m? What might you say?
Yes.
Okay, you might say yes. But if you were to say, I'll try, do you think that I'd hang about and wait for you? Or would I call somebody else?
Call somebody else.
Great. Brian, are you a man of your word?
Yes.
Great, and I fully believe that you are. And the thing about being a person of our word is that when we give our word to others, they know that they can rely on us 100%. But the problem is, although you are a man of your word, how often do you give your word to yourself and stick to it? Or are you, like everybody else here, someone who feels it's okay to let yourself down? And today you're here to achieve your goals. And today I'd like to help you to make a mental contract with yourself so that from this day forward, that you will be that person who gives his word to himself and honors it, no matter how difficult that may be. Because when a friend needs your help and you have promised to be there, well, I know that you will always be there for them. But today is about you being there for you. And Brian, I'm not asking you to give me your word. But today I can be a witness. Today I can be here to help you to honor a promise that you can make to yourself. And I don't know what that promise may be. But in your mind, I'd like you to come up with a promise that you don't mind sharing here with the group. Something that will go like, I promise that I will, and whatever is important to you. And when you have found the promise you want to make for yourself, perhaps you just say the word yes.
Yes.
Great. And the traditional way to honour a promise is with the good old contract of shaking hands. And today I'd like to introduce you to what we call the hypnotic handshake. And today I will be your witness while you verbalize and make this promise to yourself in a subconscious way that you will do everything in your power to honor that promise. So in a moment, I'm going to reach over, I'm going to touch you on the shoulder, and when I do, I'd like you to tell me what that promise is, and then in the customary way, we will shake on it.
I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
It's a good promise. All right, Brian, so I'd like you to open up your eyes for a moment. So basically I'm going to shake your hand, but I'm going to do it in a hypnotic way. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to make that promise out loud, looking into my eyes as your witness while we do a handshake. I'm going to stay down quite low for this, so it's on the camera. What is the promise you make?
I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
That's lovely. I want you to relax your hand completely. That's it. And make that promise again.
I promise.
Sleep beautifully, easily and deeply. Take it all the way right down, deep into your mind. You promise to be the best therapist that you can be. I, Brian, promise to be the best therapist I can be. That promise is sinking down into the deepest part of your mind. Brian, in a moment I'm going to reach over and take you by the hand. Don't do anything to help or hinder me. Just let me do my job. As I take you by the hand here, I want you to feel that deep level of relaxation there. In your mind now, I want you to take yourself into the future. Go forward in time. And this is something that's really easy for you to do. We do it all the time. You might imagine how great it would be to win the lottery and how you would go about spending that money and sharing it and being a person that does greatness and good in the world. So I know that you can move forward in time. But this time I want you to imagine that you've won the therapy lottery, that you really are the best therapist that you can be. Really imagine how great it would be to be so calm, so confident, and so relaxed every time you work with clients. And that you're intuitive and natural and skilled. imagine that, let me know by saying the word yes, or if you struggle with it, you can say the word no.
Yes.
Great. In a moment, I'm going to let go of your hand. The moment that your hand drops to your lap, that image of the kind of therapist that you will be, the best that you can be, will drop into the deepest part of your subconscious mind. And there it will be like a laser that guides you, that motivates you, that inspires you, and helps you to become the best therapist that you can be. You are asleep beautifully, easily, deeply. That suggestion is sinking into the deepest part of your mind. And that image will become as real as the hand upon your lap. In a moment, Brian, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder. When I do, I want you to open up your eyes for a moment. Just having a conversation here. So all of what I'm doing are all the little bells and whistles that you can add into your sessions, that you can pepper them in whenever you feel they would be appropriate. I wouldn't do a session like this. These are just the bells and whistles. There's no real therapy being done here. These are all the bits that, they're like the glue really that cements the therapy together in terms of making it more interesting for your client. But while we haven't done any real therapy, I want to make sure what I've done is going to have a permanent and positive effect on you. So I'm going to do something, and I call it dialing it in, okay? And again, this is something that we're going to cover when we do the NLP, but today is just about sharing bells and whistles with you. So I would normally be standing for this, but because I'm doing it on video, I want to kind of keep it in. So Brian, you have your powerful promise that you've made to yourself. Can you remind me what that is?
Be the best therapist I can be.
Okay. So I want you to, if you don't mind saying it out loud, I want you to start saying it out loud and following the movement of my fingers with your eyes.
I'll be the best therapist I can be.
Keep saying it.
I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
Keep saying it.
I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
Again.
I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
Keep saying.
I promise to be the best therapist I can be. I promise to be the best therapist I can be. I promise to be the best therapist I can be. I promise to be the best therapist I can be. I promise to be the best therapist I can be.
Okay, that's great. All right. When you say it and you're looking over here, what picture do you have in your mind?
House.
What house?
Just something I see at the time.
Yeah. Your house or a house in the future?
Yeah.
House in the future?
Yeah.
Okay. Positive?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. That's really good. So again, feeding into the whole thing of NLP. When we are looking up to the right, that is our future. It's what we're seeing in the future, what we're constructing. So constructing visual images about the future you want, where you see yourself being the best therapist you can be. When you're looking up and to the left, it's remembering. It's, remembering, visually remembering. And then we have audio, so to your right, so it's remembering. So we'll take you through all of the domains from looking to your right, constructing your future, remembering your past, hearing sounds from the past, accessing feelings, coming all the way around through all of the domains. And I notice as your eyes go through it, you don't have any gaps. You're not struggling through any of those domains. So I'm quite happy with what we've done so far. Bells and whistles. Then there's one other thing that you might want to do at the end of a session. Again, none of these things are required, but my kind of philosophy is, if you're going to work with clients, personally, if somebody is coming to see me, I want them to know that they were hypnotized by Susan Wallace. I want it to be a personal experience that they will speak about and that they will remember. Okay? So there's lots of things you can do to make that experience really memorable and interesting and engaging. Okay? So I might be finishing up the session right now with Brian, and of course the thing that I might want to do is to say, Brian, thank you so much for coming to see me. I want you to focus on that finger here and just follow the movement with your eyes. And once again, as you follow that movement, you begin to notice some changes taking place. And you might notice your attention is drawn towards your breathing. So I could go in that way with it, you know, back into your eye fixation and get his eyes to close. Or the other thing I could say to him is, as I gently support you here by your elbow, I want you to raise that hand a little bit. And in a moment you'll begin to notice that this finger is moving right towards your face. And the moment that finger touches your face, you'll go into a deep hypnotic trance. A deep hypnotic trance, and everything I say to you will have such a powerful effect on your subconscious mind. The closer that hand moves towards your face, the more relaxed you are becoming. And I don't know which will happen first. Will your eyes close down, or will that finger touch your face? And you don't know, but you can be curious about that. But the one thing I know, and that you know, is that the moment it touches your face, you can drift into a deep hypnotic trance. And in that space, you're going to create a future for yourself. A future that will be so achievable and become so real. And as that finger reaches and touches your face now, you can drift into a deep hypnotic trance, and you can hear everything that I say to you. And in a moment now, as I stand up here, I'm going to take you by the wrist and by the hand and the arm. And what I want you to do is I want you to make a fist with this hand here. And I want you to imagine that there is a steel bar that's running through your shoulder all the way to that fist. And imagine that this arm is becoming like steel. It's becoming so very solid from here to here. And it's going to become an unstoppable, unbendable force. And in a moment, I'm going to try and lower it. But the more I try and lower it, the more resistance there will be in it, because this is an unstoppable force. This is a steel bar, and nothing will put it down. It is as strong as steel. And it continues to bounce up. And in a moment too, I'm going to try and bend it, but the harder I try and bend it, the more effort I make, the stronger it becomes, because it is an unbendable, unstoppable force. It will not bend. But of course, you didn't come here today. Oh, give me a moment. You didn't come here today for therapy in order to have a steel bar created in your arm. You came here today so that you could become the best therapist that you could be. And in the weeks and the months ahead, Brian, you will be challenged. You will be challenged in so many ways, and in ways that you don't yet know. But here's something. No matter, keep that strength there, no matter how much you might be challenged, you will remember that inside you that there is steel, and that people may try and put you down. But as long as you remember that you are becoming the best therapist you can be, no one will put you down. And there might be people that try and bend you and try and get you to do things that you don't want to do. You might feel under the influence of clients, you might feel that you are being coerced or forced to do things. No one will ever bend your will, because you will become the best therapist that you can be. But you don't need that force in your arm. You don't need this arm to be an unbendable, unbreakable, unstoppable force. The strength that you have created here, through your will, needs to go into a place that is so much deeper. You need that strength in your subconscious mind. So in a moment, I'm going to lift this hand, this arm, this elbow, this shoulder. And as it lifts up into the air, all of that strength and that resistance can pour from your arm and it can find the place where it needs to reside, so that no matter what challenges you might face, that deep inside your subconscious mind, you'll find the answers. No matter how people might try and put you down, no matter how you might sabotage your own success, you will always remember that inside you, you are made of steel. You are an unstoppable, unshakable, unbendable, unbreakable force. Not because I say so, but because you have taken a physical resource, that strength that you can create physically, and turned it into a mental resource. And as I gently tap you here on the wrist, that hand will sink back to your lap. And every now and again, it's nice to let somebody else take the weight. And the last thing I want you to know is that you are not alone. There will be times that you just need to lean on someone, to let them carry the load. And so I want you to know that I will be here for you. When things get tough, as they sometimes do, you can access your inner strength. And I don't know how you might do that. Perhaps you'll do the Superman. But as of today, you will create some kind of anchor that will help you to access that strength, that resilience that you have inside you. And all my suggestions are sinking down into the deepest part of your mind. And by now I'm sure you realize that everything I say to you starts off by me telling you what I'm going to do before I do it. So notice how you have let me take the weight of your hand and your arm. In the future, I want you to know that everyone in our profession is here to help. We have our organizations and our associations. We have our supervisor. You have your teacher. You have your trainer. You have your school. This isn't just a course, it's a lifestyle, and you have all of your colleagues here. And in a moment, when I let go of your hand will drop to your lap, and the goal is that the penny will drop and you will realize that you are not alone. We are all here for you, and we're all here for each other. And sleep beautifully, easily, deeply relaxed. So in a moment now, I'm going to reach over and I'm going to touch you on the shoulder. And this time when I do, I have to set up a new goal. I will count from 1 to 10. And on the number 10, you will be back to everyday suggestibility, back to everyday awareness, knowing that my suggestions have sunk into the deepest part of your mind. That's my goal. So all I have to do now is to count you up from 1 to 10. So 1, 2, 3. It could be as elaborate as I want or as simple as I want. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Back to everyday awareness. And thanks for listening. Talk to me about the steel bar.
When I was suggested about it, as soon as I started kind of closing the fist, I started visualising what it was. It's kind of like an actual kind of thick steel bar that runs right through from your shoulder all the way up to your wrist, and as long as you hold on to that visualization, it's very, very hard to bend it from it or yield from it.
Yeah, good. So there's a combination of things going on there. You're using your imagination, you're also using your physical strength. What would be a good anchor for you to help you to, let's say, okay, your career is going to be long, yes, within the whole field. There will be times that will challenge you because that's the nature of life. To help you to access it, what anchor might work well for you?
I think clicking the fingers.
Clicking fingers. Okay, that works well. What's your click like? So for you, clicking your fingers, that would be a good anchor for you to access the steel.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. What does the steel mean for you as a mental resource?
It means strengthening more willpower, to be more unyielding in certain parts of your life, have more strength to do certain things, and yeah, I think it's more about being unyielding.
Okay, good. All right, okay. And how committed are you to using and accessing that strength when you need it?
110%.
110%. Okay. So just to finish off, we might as well do the other rapid induction. Okay. So what I'm gonna, and I really want to get that click in as your anchor. Okay. So that's the whole purpose of this. Now I'm going to talk you through it just because we're doing it on the video. So Brian, what I want you to do is in a moment, I want you to place your hand in my hand. And I want you to push down with 110 level commitment against my hand. I'll be pushing up against your energy, okay? And what I want to do is to install that anchor so that every time you make that click, like that with your fingers, or click with your fingers, that you can access that strength and you can be as unwielding as you need to be to achieve your goals. Is that okay? So place your hand in mine. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and on the number 3, I just want you to close your eyes, okay? And getting ready now. I want you to start pushing. Push, push, push. 1, 2, 3. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Slip beautifully, easily and deeply all the way down. Right down even deeper still. Beautifully and easily. Tapping you here in the shoulder. Place your hand in mine. I know you can do way better than that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Pushing, pushing. Slip beautifully, easily and deeply all the way. That's it. Right down even deeper still. Right down even deeper still. Each and every time that you make... This is the sound, that movement, the energy that's in that sound gives you access to your strength. You can feel that resilience, you can feel that strength, you can feel that unstoppable force that you have inside you. And as I tap you here on the shoulder, coming back to everyday awareness.